Here we go. Another project on the adventure vehicle. It's just a bit awkward. Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're working on the adventure vehicle, the 93 LandCruiser, and I've got with me a big Shady by Yakima. It's a full 270 degree, I think, awning. So I got some thoughts about how I could mount it up to this factory-equipped Toyota LandCruiser roof rack. So I've got it out because I want to actually put it up with my hands and set it up there and see what it looks like, because it's a pretty large wraparound awning, and I just want to get an eyeball on it as I start this project. And in my hands, I've got a piece of 80/20. It's one of the low profile channels. It's 15 series, and I've already thought about some ways in which I can get there's two big L brackets that will hold this to the roof rack. And we'll show that to you here in a second, but important, I think, to figure out a way to mount it. Otherwise, this is not light. You're going to run into some problems out on the road, not to mention out on the trail, if we don't secure this appropriately. So with that, let me see what this looks like when you eyeball it. So the zippers are down. Yakima is going to be so you can read it. And what I'm thinking, it's going to go about right there. Yeah, that looks good, actually. I like it. All right, so let me put this down and show you some more of what I'm thinking here. So if you look, these are bungee cord or tie down hooks, very robust all the way around, well, on both sides. It's an aluminum roof rack, but these are good strong holes up here. So I'm thinking I got a way to do this. Let me take you up top. So first, for the extra bracing and the amount of distance that's required, if I take this very stout piece of aluminum from 80/20 and I put it down, this is what the bracket for the awning, and if I put it down in here, that's about the same height. So cut it to fit, and then screw it into the crossbars of the awning itself, or excuse me, of the roof rack itself. And these are aluminum, pretty thick pieces of aluminum. So there would be 3 anchor points. Okay, so again, here's the T-slot. It's not cut to fit yet, so it's rising up a little bit here. And I would remove one of these. They got bolts underneath. Remove one of these, and I'm hoping, I don't believe it's brazed on in any way, and that would free up, oops, it'd be like this. It would free up the slots, the holes I need, which are already built into the rack, and I really don't want to put too many new holes into this rack, because I really, preserving the authenticity of this rack is cool, in my opinion. So that lines up. So I think what I would do is I'd probably figure out how to bolt this one down. I got to get some spacers up under here for sure. Bolt this one down, and then make sure I've got this at the right distance, left to right, so that fits. And this L bracket has to come out far enough to miss the rest of the tie downs and keep the, position the awning appropriately. So a bit of a custom job, but I think I got what it takes here to pull it off. So let's just get into it. Just to give you a perspective, this is what it would look like So I got a gap up under there that I need to solve. But this would move the bracket out far enough for that big shady from Yakima. And just unbolt this plate. Would retain those for sure, and then unbolt that one. So there'd be a bracket on that side and a bracket on this side. And you can see the 80/20 is sort of jutted out past there, so I've got to cut it to fit so we can get that process going. But I think what I'm going to do first, because cutting 80/20 is super easy with the right saw blade, no problem. Got a lot of experience on that van over there cutting 80/20. But I think I'm going to start out here and see how difficult it is to get this off and that one off before I take this project too far, because if those are like brazed on in any way, it sort of changes up my plan. All right, so good news is the first one loosened up, no problem. Oh, we got the second one, came off, no problem. I'm seeing a little bit of discoloration. Not bad though. I'll show you what I mean by a mild discoloration. So this is where steel is touching aluminum. I'm just taking a cleaning, fairly mild cleaning agent. And let's see if we get any kind of action here. And it looks like we're getting some good. Yeah, very mild cleanser. And I bet if I put some time into that, I could get that to clean up kind of nicely. All right, making some progress here this morning. I got these pucks. I had them in my kit of extra parts. I don't know what I'm gonna need those for. Should have needed them for, but I cut them down to 3/4 inch, which was this distance, to even up these brackets. And it looks like it did the job. It absolutely evened those brackets up. So now we got a good base. Now I gotta drill in to the crossbars and fix this 80/20. That's the next step. So that's the hardware. It's a 6mm 1.5" bolt that I'm hoping will go down through here, clear all of this, and let's just see. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna have to get a washer on there though, likely. Let's see how much room I got under here. That's gonna work. I may need to put a washer up under there as well, but that'll work. That's great. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna use a step bit in order to auger out the 80/20. And remember, I've got each one of the crossbars marked in terms of the center and where they need to go. So this is next step, and I'm going to turn it on. It's going to make a little noise. I'm going to move the camera back so you can get a look at what we're doing. All right, for me the key is on these, because I've drilled them before with a step bit, is you need to get something to hold it down and brace it, because this bit wants to jump around as it's trying to cut this aluminum. And so it's important to make sure you got everything braced appropriately before you get started. So here we go. All right, we don't need to go too big because I'm only trying to get the head of this screw, which will be the screw I use, through there. And that is nearly perfect. I'm going to get a little bit wider, so just I get better access, but that's nearly perfect. sure. Yeah, plenty of room. All right. Okay, so we've got the two augured out access points. There's actually three here, but I have them positioned over this. This DeWalt table gives you room to where I'm just going to drill down through those holes. So I need to brace this. Okay. This is the size bolt we're going to use, which looks to be, let's see, 5/16 probably. Yeah, it looks like 5/16. Straight down. Hopefully you can see that. So we got hole number one done. This is the bolt we're going to use, and right down she goes. The LandCruiser. Okay, that's through. Thinking now that this is steel, I'm gonna probably need to put some paint on here as well. All right, that's through. There's those spacers that balance that big L bracket, but there is the first nut in. So I need to do the first bolt. So I need to do this one and this one. Okay, so now that I know the base of this rack is actually steel, these holes that I drilled, I can't just leave them. I need to fill them with some paint. I need to cover that with paint. So I'm just using this Rust-Oleum, stops rust, reform and seal, and I'm using my trusty trick of just ear swabs and whatever you call those, swabs. And I'm just gonna paint it. That's my paintbrush. I'm gonna use that to clean this up. So you're gonna hear me probably spraying over here because I just do it on some cardboard away from cars because paint flies all over the place. And the last thing you want is speckled cars. There's my wet paint right here. Get my little mini paintbrush nice and wet and just nicely coat all the way around that exposed metal. All right, that's good. Looks nicely coated and covered. And I think this will be dry in no time, and we can get rolling on the next step. One more bracket that we need to get installed on the 80/20. going anywhere. There we go. I'm going to have to get another 10 millimeter in there in order to hang on to that. There we go. Contact. It feels like we're close to being tight enough. I don't want to snap that head off. Wow, that is really secure. Okay. Hey, that doesn't move at all. All right. We got success. This sucker is bolted down. Now it's time to look at the Yakima big shady directions and see how I slide the whole awning all along here and get it affixed up on this rack. We're getting close. Getting really close. All right, gang, final push to mount this Yakima awning up on the rack mounts. The directions actually say these should be hooked to the awning itself, and then you bolt to the rest of the apparatus, which would be a conventional Yakima roof rack. In my case, I had to get these mounted up here and fixed first, and then I'm going to bring this bad boy up and put it up and mount it. Funny enough, the only thing holding this 60 plus pound awning up is 4 bolts and locking nuts. That's it. So hopefully it's robust. We're going to handle it going down the highway at 70 miles an hour. All right, let's look at this. All right, I'm always impressed with reasonably good quality directions, and that's a good thing for Yakima because they did a nice job with this. And it details everything specifically. So it tells me to pull this off, and I see we got some cardboard in here. Interesting. Maybe that cardboard, the rest of that comes off when we undo the, yeah, so I'm gonna leave that there. It's not coming out very easily, and that must come out later. So this track, L track or whatever we're gonna call it, it's got these 2 plugs. There's a plug right there. Come out, they're finger tight so far. Let's see. Yep, and another one right there. Then you take the back side of these bolts and you run them down that channel, and that's what's going to mount up to the brackets. And so we're going to have 2 on each side, right? Because we got 2 brackets up top. And then directions say make sure you put the plugs back in, because somehow this eliminates intrusion of water, I guess, if you either got rain going on or you know, driving down the highway in inclement weather. So put the plugs back in. Those are in. And we will close this back up for now. Okay. And then I need to kind of eyeball where those are going to go when I lift them up, because I got to tell you, I'm doing this solo, which is kind of crazy. Shouldn't be, but I am. So I'm going to get a tape measure and sort of roundabout it and put them close and try to lift this thing up at once with the help of a ladder. And if I can get at least the top one of one of them in and get that started, then I can maneuver the other ones into their holes. That's the theory anyway. So these are going to go down here. And it looks like until you cinch the bolts down on this, you can easily move this around. As you can see, these move around nicely. So that's a good thing. All right, let's get started. Next step. Oh, one thing I will say, the directions say you need to have 50 inches or less from these bolts. 50 inches or less. So on my front set of bolts, we're going to measure that just to be certain, because I imagine from an engineering perspective, spanning that distance too far and you're going to end up with too much shear weight or shear force on this L track and the bolts themselves. So 50 inches for me is way down here. So I have less than 50 for sure, well within the parameters on how this will get hung. All right, this is going to be a feat, I think, of engineering, pivoting, balancing, maybe circus-like. We shall see. So my thought is, I've got this awning positioned just about at the appropriate distance in terms of the screws and the brackets. And I'm putting it up on this ladder, and then, without dropping it, I'm going to move the ladder a little closer. And then it's going to come down to the sustained ability to hang on to it, and maybe some serious grunting along the way. So let's see. Wow, those are in. Wow, wow, wow. Holy mackerel. All four went in at the same time. Is that freaking luck or what? Holy mackerel. I cannot believe that. Okay, don't come off of there, please. Let's see. Maybe I can do these bottom ones too. I think my... Okay, good. My recollection is these are 13 millimeter bolts. So come on, come on. Okay, good. That is amazing. Holy mackerel. Are you kidding me right now? Those screws, they went in simultaneously, all four of them. That's a miracle event. I think they can canonize me right now. That is incredible. Sorry, hopefully I don't piss off my Catholic friends. So, all we need to do now is, those are 13 millimeter screws, just tighten those bad boys down. And she's up, but you know, one thing will be important to do is eyeballing that back piece. And when you swing the awning around, how much of that rear area of the truck will it cover, like in inclement weather? So maybe there's another perspective over here, although it'll be bright as hell. I'm thinking I could push it a little bit that way. Just a little bit. But, you know, trial and error is probably the way to go about this. So, let me get my 13 millimeter. Yeah, gotta tell you, I am thoroughly amazed this just went up one time. I'm gonna pivot it just inward. I tend to want to snap the heads off of bolts, so I'm not going to go too heavy on that one. Let's see down here, this one. Plus, I'll crank it down a little harder once I'm comfortable with how well this awning opens up. Okay. On to the back bracket. Push this in a little bit. It's interesting it's not spec'd for a washer underneath that bolt because, or that nut, because I think it might be wise to put a washer under there, although I don't know, it's not spec'd for it. Okay. All right, shall we do unfurling of the main mast of the ship LandCruiser and the Awning Yakima. All right, it says slowly unzip, and I want you to fold it back. Now that cardboard now comes off a lot easier than we had it before. Doesn't feel like any other cardboard there. Okay, unzip that one. May need a ladder here. I think the ladder I use in my van, Thule ladder, might actually be a good thought. So it says to wrap around the cover to the back. Like that, and then there are Velcro straps there. Another Velcro strap right here, and that allows it to unfurl. And then it just says to loop it around. Huh. Well, that's pretty cool. Now, let's see. There's supposed to be let's see. Right over here, attached to the awning on one of the unfurl locations is a Velcroed bag, and I'm thinking that's where that pull around piece is. All right, so kind of an interesting place for that bag to be tucked in. It was like tucked in right up under here. So I got to figure out how to put that back. But in that bag, it's important stuff. You got all your stakes you drive down into the ground, and the wire that goes, not wire, that's rope that goes from the awning down to the stakes. And you have this. This is the thing that opens, allows you to pull the awning completely open and then hook it on the other side of your roof rack. So we're going to put that up right now. Oh, all right. It's like a tie-down strap. Doesn't look like it's more than anything than that. It's in, you know, this one is not, in my humble opinion, I don't know, it's too early to tell. It's kind of frayed down here at the end. This is not the highest quality I've seen out there. So this could easily be replaced with a more robust, readily available tie-down hook. So let's see. I'm going to hook it right on the end here, bring it around. All right, so I can see right now, I'll bring you over here so you can get a look. In my opinion, the gap is too great where it comes back across. Let's bring it back across. And it doesn't really want to go much tighter than that. So that's a pretty good gap in it, which means I need to move it that way, just as I suspected from the beginning, because I'd like to have that back end covered a bit more. All right, so I'm going to get up there and loosen it up. Those 4 bolts that I just sort of tightened up, and then take another run at it. So I'll be back here shortly. All right, so there it is. And I do have to say, it is quite impressive. And this pushes up, and that's your rain peak, right? So the rain can easily run off, and then you got your legs. Yeah, these are just screw legs. You unscrew them at the base, turn them counterclockwise, and they extend. And when you get them down, turn them back clockwise, and they lock. There's a good look at that rain, sort of rain roof, rain peak. Just push it up right there. Just thinking I would show you as well. No issue, obviously, clearing the doors. Plenty of room in there. No issue at all. And I think over time, this nylon is probably going to stretch a little bit, I'm thinking. So that piece will open up a little bit more flush over time. We'll have to see if my speculation is correct. All right, let's stow this thing. Not like I'm an expert at it, but from a time perspective, you had to break camp and head out. This doesn't look like it takes long at all. Okay. There's also some Velcro right here. It looks like there's some Velcro supports that I didn't Velcro on. So it would be opening them up like this once you get the legs down and putting them around the tent post for added support. I'm pretty sure that's what that's for. I'm going to check the directions just to make sure. But they were not opened when I initially opened up the awning. So we're going to put this tie down strap back in the bag. Something easy. So I just put a quick easy knot there, not too tight, and tied it around here. And then, pretty sure, because it's a little wider right here. This piece is definitely a little wider. I think this goes right here. Okay, let's just see how this works. Okay, we get it here. Kind of just want to gently bring this up here. Fold one, I think. And then fold two. Okay, let's just see if we can get it to zip. All right, just hopeful that that sort of breaks in a little bit, as it were, and is not as stiff to maneuver. You got to kind of keep your hands on the tent material so it doesn't bind into the zipper and you tear the tent material. That's no good. Who the heck wants that? And we're back. What do you think those little zipper tabs are going to do when you're driving around? Ding, 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 ding. Where should those be? If I'm Yakima, rubberize those things. So there's rubber around all of them. and you're not going to get the ding, 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 ding as you're driving around. I'll accept the patent for that one. Copyright Yakima. Go ahead and feel free to give that one to me. Okay, looks good. I like it. I mean, I haven't driven it around at any reasonable speed yet, but that looks good. It's going to get the job done. That's the bottom line. All right, gang. Appreciate you hanging with me to the end. That is the full install, custom install on a 1993 Toyota LandCruiser from Japan. A lot of them, they're all from Japan. You can't buy this one here. I had to import it. So it's a 93 straight six diesel, robust design. And I'm going to be out on the trails. So this baby right here is going to be very helpful. I'm a Yakima fan. And the only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to, right now they're on back order for some reason. I'm going to try to get 2 more sets of these L brackets because I can install that on my Yakima rack on my LX. And I can also install it on the 8020 up on the Sprinter van. I got to do some monkey rigging up there to make it work. But that would allow me, I've got a Fiamma awning on one side of the van, and on the other side of the van, I could shade it up with the big shady. And I have an extendable Thule ladder that I don't think I'm going to need here because I can climb up all over this truck, but would definitely need on the Sprinter. So thanks for being with me. Hope you enjoyed this. Hopefully it's something that you can perhaps apply to the build you're working on, whatever it happens to be. And that is the Yakima 270 custom install, the big shady on the 93 LandCruiser. Thanks. Be good. See you soon. Bye-bye.